Hey everyone, Catherine here from CatherinePiller.com, and if you have seen the cover of the holiday mini catalog that Stampin' Up! Has out right now, you have seen this gorgeous ornament. And I've gotten 2 or 3 or maybe 50 emails asking me how to make this. So I got busy making one and now I'm ready to show you. This will be on my blog and YouTube channel. I'll also have it categorized on Stamp Nation, so it's always easy to find for members. Even a year or 2 years from now when you need to find this, it will be in the Christmas category. Instead of having to scroll through a year or 2 of blog posts, you'll be able to find it really easily there. Also on Stamp Nation, I'm going to show you another design, more like a snowflake, and a quicker way to make this beautiful ornament. You're going to need the Ornament Keepsake stamp set and the coordinating framelits. You're going to need 2 full sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I'm using this designer series paper here, which has a vanilla base, so I'm using vanilla cardstock. Don't look too closely here because it's white. Whoopsie. Most people probably are not going to notice that. So what I did is I did the big ornaments and I stamped them 5 on a sheet, and then the little ornaments you can get like 14 or 13. The best way I found to do it was put 2 sheets on there at a time, line up your little framelits, and so you can crank these through and cut out 2 at a time. You need 20 of each ornament, so if you do that one by one, you're going to have to go 40 passes through the big shot. If you do it 2 at a time, you only have to do 20. So I'm not going to bore you, make you watch me do all 40 of these ornaments. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have 20 of these and 20 of these, and put 5 aside of each because you don't need to score those, and the rest you need to score. So you can set it up on your scoring board and just run a score straight down the center of your ornament and fold it. Now if you don't have a scoring board or you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Actually, the first ornament that I made, I didn't use it. I just folded it in half and scored it with my, or creased it actually with my phone folder. And I do find this a little bit forgiving. Like if I don't get directly in the center right off, I can scoot it over a little bit and keep running that score line down. And just fold it in half, and see, it's still not perfect, so I can kind of scooch it over a little bit to make it as close to centered or fold it in half as I can. If you don't get them perfect, you're okay, don't worry about it. And also I did notice some of these, I didn't cut them out perfectly exactly, but like I said, don't worry about it, because once you have it all put together, sorry, the plane going by. Once you have it put together, you're not going to be able to tell that it's not perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and score all of these. Next step, you're going to take 1 ornament that you did not score, turn it over, and then take 3 ornaments that you did score and your liquid glue. I have seen people keep these upright like this in a little votive holder or a candlestick holder, kind of like my shot glass. It keeps all the glue at the end, and it'll be ready to go when you're ready to adhere things together. So you're just going to take a little bit of liquid glue and adhere these together. Liquid glue is better than snail because when you're making 3D items, I don't find that the snail adheres quite as well as I want it to. There, and then we'll just add some liquid glue to the base. I'm going to do the same thing with my little cherry cobbler ornaments. The next step is going to be to glitter your ornaments. I have a 2-way glue pen, and I'm just going to outline my ornament on all sides. So now I'm going to put all of my ornaments together and glitter them, and we'll be back. Okay, so now that these are all assembled and glittered, I just have a 1 3/4 inch circle punch here. I'm using my liquid glue and just doing it around the edges of the circle. I'm going to take the neck of each ornament and place it on the edge of the circle. I'm placing these ornaments so that they're not quite touching, but they're pretty close together. And one of the benefits of the liquid glue is it doesn't dry right away, so you have a little wiggle room to make sure they get placed correctly. Because now see, I have too much space in between there, so I'm going to scoot the ornaments in just a little bit, make them closer together. Make sure they're spaced correctly. Okay, so now they will just dry, take a couple minutes to dry. In the meantime, I have the tool by Stampin' Up. We have Cherry Cobbler here. And this is gonna go in between each ornament. So what you're gonna do is just cut off. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3 humps. So you're gonna take the tool, this is about 5 inches. You're just going to hold it in the center and kind of fan it out, just like you would do tissue paper in a gift bag. We're going to add a little bit of liquid glue, and then we'll lay that down. And you can get an old pair of scissors or a stylus or something to squash that down a little bit to make sure it gets in there and gets glued in nicely. Now if you look closely at the first one I did, you see there's little sparkles on the tool. I took the Cherry Cobbler Dazzling Details and I just added little globs, little dots of the Dazzling Details, and I think it added a fun, another shine and dazzle and sparkle to the ornament. So you can see our ornament is shaping right up. Now we're just going to take these little guys, put a little dab of glue in there, and then just situate the Cherry Cobbler ornaments in between the green ones. And you want to kind of sit them up a little bit so that they're kind of angling out. We don't want a flat ornament, we want one that has a nice dimension to it. And adding this liquid glue is also just adding strength to the whole ornament in general. You're just going to hold it in there a second while that hot glue dries. And we'll just add each one all the way around. Now before I add that last one on here, the ornament on the cover actually has some linen thread in it. And it's about 6 inches long and it's a double loop. Okay, so personally I wasn't a huge fan of the linen thread. You may like it, and obviously the people at Stampin' Up did, so I don't know, just I didn't want to add it to my ornament. But if you do, you just fold it over so it has a couple loops and just glue it right in there. And you know, actually I think I kind of like it better in person than I did on the catalog cover. But anyway, it's totally up to you. If you have gold cord hanging around or tinsel, or I've seen kind of ribbon with little silver beads on it or gold beads, any of that would look really fun and cute and dress this ornament up even more than it already is. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a moment. The next thing we're going to do is make a lolly. So I did a 1 inch by 12 strip of paper, and then I scored it every 1/2 inch. Stampin' Up also makes a die that will cut this out for you. I don't own it, so I just make my own. We're going to take a little bit of hot glue, and Stampin' Up has a little silicone mat in the mini catalog. I don't own it yet, but I hear it's really nice and that hot glue doesn't really stick to it. So if you do this with the silicone mat, it makes like a little, a big glue dot. Nicer than what I'm doing here, but this still does work. So I'm gonna let that sit just for a second for it to harden and cool. And then we're gonna add a little hot glue here. We'll pull this around. And I'm getting hot glue all over the place. Like I said, the silicone mat is going to work better for this. We're improvising here since we don't have one yet. I'm just going to hold this together for a moment while it hardens and cools so it'll stay put. We're going to add some glue to the back. I'm adding quite a bit because I want this to get adhered very nicely in here, and I'm just going to push that down into the center and hold it while it dries. We're going to add a vintage faceted button to the center. Just add a little bit of a little hot glue to the back. Stick that right in the center, and I have some hot glue strings here which we'll get rid of later. I'm going to add just a tiny dab of hot glue in the center of the button so then I can add my pearl. Now there is a mini glue dot on the end of the pearl, but I want to make sure that that stays in there good forever. The very last step here is doing a hanger. Just going to take the crocodile and some linen thread. I did use baker's twine on the other one, but since this is vanilla and the baker's twine is white, that doesn't jive for me, so linen thread will work. Just put that through and tie it off. And there we go, a beautiful, gorgeous ornament. If you want to do the back, I did some stamping and circle punching and just finished off this back in case anybody sees it. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and found my directions easy to follow. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. For Stamp Nation members, the full instructions, including extra photos and step-by-step directions to take you through this, are going to be posted on the site for your reference. And I am so glad that some of you emailed me asking me how to make this, because I had a lot of fun and I'm really happy with them, and they're just beautiful. They actually honestly are prettier in person. So another thing for Stamp Nation members, you are going to get other alternatives of different ways to make these, quicker ways to make these, and different designs. So be staying tuned for those. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day and happy stamping.